It's said that we know more about the surface of Mars than our oceans. This is certainly true with the Kimberley, Western Australia, our last great marine wilderness. Three times the size of Victoria, this magnificent untouched area has escaped human exploitation for the last 2.5 million years. It boasts a truly unique and unspoiled ecosystem, unexplored and unknown to science. But today, this pristine area faces massive pressures to exploit its lucrative energy and mineral resources, as well as to further develop its tourism and fishing industries. This incredible wilderness is also not immune to the damaging effects of climate change. Sensing an urgent need to understand the ecological value of its diverse marine environment, the Western Australian Marine Science Institution, or WAMSI, has assembled a small team of dedicated scientists in an attempt to unlock some of its mysteries before it's too late. Join us as we uncover the secrets that lie under Kimberley waters. In an area this vast, it is vital that the team decides which specific region they'll focus their research on. Lead scientist Dr. Steve Blake decides to conduct an aerial survey.
We decided that this area was effectively a virgin field area from a scientific perspective, and we felt that it had no or very little information collected to date, so it was a really great opportunity for us to build a regional marine science program in this region. It's sorely lacking, and yet this is a vital area for the future of Australia in terms of energy resources, notwithstanding the great wilderness and other environmental values of this coastline. Having said that, the Kimberley is a massive area. There's over 3,000 islands, 13,500 kilometres of coastline. You can't do it all. You couldn't do it all in 4 lifetimes. So we're just picking this part of, I guess, the Kimberley, from Camden Sound down to Collier Bay, including Montgomery Reef, and we're just focusing there in 2008.
The WAMSI team has arrived in Broome to begin their exploration of the region. To get to their location, Pearl Sea Coastal Cruises have provided their research vessel, the Kimberley Quest. It'll take the scientists over 12 hours by boat, covering a distance of over 200 nautical miles.
Kimberley Quest, this is Search Watch. Thanks for getting back to us this morning.
We're conducting whale surveys, oceanographic research up here for the next week.
Thanks very much for those details. You have a nice time down there. The weather looks pretty good.
Yeah.
The WAMSI scientists are not the only ones who have arrived in the Kimberley coastal waters. This is a female Group 4 humpback whale and her newly born calf. It is believed that these whales carry their unborn calves along an ancient route beginning in Antarctica. The indigenous people from this country have passed down stories of whales returning to a secret birthing place somewhere here in the Kimberley.
Our Dreamtime stories have songs about the whales. Our people still sing these songs today relating to those sites and animals from that land, in that area.
Today, large numbers of whales have been spotted by the tourist operators and the few naturalists that can reach this remote region. The scientists hope to determine if these stories are predictable and learn as much as they can about this mysterious marine environment.
Okay, the infamous whales, the majority of the whales, well, they're all in this area, but certainly in this area around here, this is where most of the mothers and calves are basically at the moment, so it's you should see a lot of whales on this trip. Opportunistically, my suggestion is if we see whales congregating along a front, an oceanographic front, and obviously there's something going on, unlike the last trips where we've just kept going steaming doing whale observing, my suggestion on this trip will be to actually do some detailed sampling across some of these oceanographic fronts, biological, physical, chemical, and get the whale behavioural stuff, because these whales are feeding along some of these fronts.
In this series of expeditions, the scientists will study the currents and tides, the physical properties of the water column and its biology. They'll map the sea floor and from the air link hyperspectral data with information measured at sea. They'll collect samples floating on the surface and from the very bottom of the ocean. Along the way, they'll observe wildlife behaviour and record life underwater. This way, they'll end up with a holistic overview of the entire system, important information, if we're to understand just how valuable and diverse this amazing region is.
It's just coming
As
up
the
now.
team near
Just
their
coming up,
destination,
Helen. Just
a
under
pod
there.
of whales
Yeah.
passes by. Now, no one has any doubts about just how important this area is for the humpback whales.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Well, just on this site, we just saw about 2 or 3 humpback whales around this area where we collected this water, and we think that phytoplankton is a small scale of what humpback whales may be consuming. So I guess if there's a high productive area, then it might mean that humpbacks might be coming to that area to feed. So this is a phytoplam, which is a phytoplankton analyzer. It's measuring, if you like, the energy activity of the phytoplankton cells, so then you can relate this to primary production. So we can find out, productivity measurements and relate it, possibly in the future when other measurements are taken in comparison to this.
And we'll also be taking CTD profiling, conductivity, temperature and depth. The oceanographers will be lowering the instrument down to the sea floor and back up and recording conductivity, temperature and depth every second or so as it goes through the water column and back up.
It appears that these great creatures are just as curious about us as we are about them.
Here he comes!
Unlike other tropical regions, the Kimberley reefs have never been polluted by agricultural runoff, dredging or impacted by human activity. To date, no known species have become extinct here, making it an important area, not just for Australia, but for the international scientific community too. The scientists know that mapping these reefs and documenting the diversity of life forms is essential for future study and conservation. In such an abundant and diverse ecosystem, dangerous predators are very much part of life here. So to see what lies below the surface can be very risky. For this reason, Graham has built a drop camera to record the vast underwater reefs safely and efficiently.
Okay, we've got a 1024. Graham, I'll get you to just put it down just a touch.
You got any coral yet?
No, nothing. Can you mark on the log sheet under remarks that's where we're really picking up the first sort of signs of sponges and sea whips and things? This gets very exciting.
Right.
Did you make a note of that depth, Maddie?
Yeah, 7.7.
That was the first acropora. Oh, we got coral down here. We got coral. Okay. Down. Down. Oh yes. Oh yes. We are serious coral reef now, guys. We're going through a load of fish.
To record the diversity of fish life, the scientists deploy a baited video system. It doesn't take long before they get a feeding frenzy.
A big shark just went past. Yeah, we got a shark. Had the drop camera in the water, and we found some nice corals over at Wilson Point, and we've got a nice transect of both corals and filter feeding communities. So if the boys here can get the equipment back up and running, we should be able to repeat the transect and get some better data this time. I tell you what, absolutely brilliant.
2 months ago, oceanographers from the University of Western Australia deployed 3 tide gauges. It's up to the WAMSI team to retrieve them to collect the critical data.
Okay, here it comes, guys. Last meter. Yep, that's good. The tide progresses through the whole Camden Sound region. It doesn't just all arrive in one point at the same time in terms of the progression of the tide through the bay. So what we're trying to do is actually, with 3 tide gauges, have a look at basically the time lag or the time delay as the tide comes in and the tide goes out throughout the whole of the region. Hence why there's 3 loggers, and they're quite spaced apart.
Nowhere is evidence of the massive tides more clearly demonstrated than the nearby cliffs.
So what we have here, of course, is the exposed cliff face of this island. You can see the sort of limpets and mussels. We're on low tide here, but look right up to the white line there. That's effectively the high tide area, and you can see it's a very, very large tidal range, up to 11 metres in this part of the world. So 2 highs a day, 2 lows a day. That's called a semi-diurnal tidal variation, and it basically drives all of the, I think most of the biodiversity of this whole region is these intense tidal currents.
To escape the extreme tidal currents, a humpback whale and her calf have found shelter behind one of the numerous islands. Like humans, humpback whales breathe air. This calf is learning to manoeuvre at the surface in order to take a breath. His mother stays very close, supporting him from underneath as he learns these skills. Like mammals everywhere, they've developed a close bond. The same conditions that make these bays safe havens for this mother and calf present dangers for the WAMSI team and their skipper.
There's quite a few dangers associated with working in the Kimberley. Pretty much majority of the Kimberley is not really surveyed that well. This grey area here pretty much is a grey area. There's no surveying as far as bottom detail goes, like reefs, rocks, or depth. The chart says that there's about 8 metres of water, and there's a bit of a 6 metre bank here, but all that dries out on a low spring tide to be a pretty big reef. So without having local knowledge and not knowing that, you could end up in quite a bit of trouble.
The challenge arrives the next day.
I've made a request to the skipper to anchor close to this reef. We're just doing this for the first time. See if the corals are different from perhaps those down further south around the islands. He might, at the end of half an hour of trying, say to me, "No go, mate. It's too hazardous. It's too risky." And I accept that call because these are uncharted waters up here. It's incredible. So again, we may not get this, but I'd love to get to see the coral life on some of these more exposed reefs.
The team arrives at the new pristine reef and look for the best spot to explore.
Just out and around, actually. We don't want to get stranded here.
Unexpectedly, they meet up with a large sea snake. There are around 55 species of sea snakes found in the world today. Of this, around 22 are found here, off the coast of Western Australia.
That is mad.
That's the biggie, that one.
As well as the drop camera, Graham has provided a remote-operated vehicle, a compact video system that can record marine life between the coral branches.
Yeah, we just need to be in slightly deeper water.
Oh, look at that coral.
Because look at the...
As with any technology, in the field it can become overwhelmed by the tough conditions.
water. Hold on, I can't see a thing. But I've got nothing on the screen.
Our one motor's took a bit of damage when we were in the coral. So I'm just testing it now, and then I'll change the motor.
It looks like it's going to be a big job to get the ROV up and working again. In such virgin territory, there is a huge range of vital information that can be gathered, including the topography of the sea floor.
Okay, we're in the program. This is called MAX-C, plotting program that we use aboard the Browse Express. It maps the bottom in a 3D image by using the transducer from this echo sounder here, and it paints a picture of the bottom in 3D image. Now the Cockle Reefs has a narrow channel that we navigated through, so you can see where it's 30 metres deep, 25, 30 metres deep, and it steps up to about 10 metres in the middle of the channel before dropping down to about 20 metres on the other side on the southern side of it.
It is 3 a.m. and Graham has spent the last couple of days repairing the ROV. He needs to get it working before they reach a vital marine habitat, Montgomery Reef.
What about the tide gauge? I'm nervous. I tell you what I'm nervous about, that tide gauge north of Champagne Island. The one at Cockle Reef, I reckon will be right. The one at Champagne,
Really out there.
it's too many trawlers and stuff. I think we might have lost it. What we're going to have to do is probably, you and the skipper will just have to tic-tac with radio, just to make sure that we head in the right direction.
If you've got a handheld, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll find it straight away.
Okay, good. All right, we have.
If you've got a handheld.
We have.
The scientists have arrived at the site where the second tide gauge was deployed. The tide is rapidly going out, and at low tide it'll be too dangerous to navigate through the reef. That leaves them a safety margin of only 30 minutes to locate the gauge and move out to deeper waters.
Is this where it's supposed to be?
Well, we're pretty much on the money right here, eh?
So what we're doing now is we're looking for the second tide gauge. It was put out 2 months ago. It's a very exposed spot, so we're looking for the buoy. We're coming on the previous GPS fix before, and as yet we've not found it. So we have to keep looking around here and see if we can pick it up.
With time rapidly running out, the team is getting anxious.
The ocean suddenly looks very big.
Yeah, there is something. There is something.
There is.
No, this is
it's a
an animal.
Turtle.
Yes, it's a turtle.
Just
100 meters away.
Despite an extensive search, it appears that the strong tides and harsh conditions have taken the gauge, and all of its information with it. This is very disappointing for the team.
All right, George, take us home.
Hopefully there's another one out there
It was a more exposed spot than we thought we'd put it.
I thought that they put it somewhere.
I thought that's where we put it, in there, yeah. It just seems so exposed out there.
In these open waters, even a 2-ton baby humpback is exposed to natural predators. Sharks looking for an opportunity to strike an inexperienced calf. This time, they escape to safer waters inshore. It's early August, and so far the researchers have spotted over 1,000 whales.
We managed to basically track the whales into the Camden Sound region, and they seem to be coming into the northeastern quadrant of the field area.
I've seen a calf which I reckon would have been less than a week old last year. It was grey and still had its dorsal fin sort of floppy and leaning over, and it was sort of grey, blotchy colour. Wasn't a whole black yet. Yeah, brand new.
The whales have been coming probably to Camden Sound for thousands of years. It's their nursery ground, it's their sort of kindergarten, it's the maternity ward for them. So they're coming there to basically have their young and possibly to breed. The theory might be that if there's high productivity in the water, high zooplankton, the whales may in fact be in some way feeding in those inshore areas. But then similarly they might also be feeding on things like squid and prawns and shrimp. So we don't know that yet. What we do know is that the majority of those whales that we've been sighting are in that inshore Camden Sound area, especially the mothers and their calves.
So we will be doing about 7 sample sites today, and at each sample site we deploy the hydrophone for the humpback whales.
Yeah, Kev, we're in 43 metres of water, and the temperature is 26.7 degrees Celsius, and we're online now.
I think Camden Sound is just a natural it's almost like a place, it's a staging area. It's also a place where I think the cows can educate and train their calves. They're in a situation where they can tuck in behind islands to get out of the tidal currents. Similarly, they can move their calves around the area and actually train them into those quite intense tidal currents. I just think something's going on, which hopefully the science will show in the fullness of time, whether it's the productivity of the water column or whether it's because of the natural sound properties. There's something going on there.
Having given up on the second tide gauge for lost, the team sets out to look for the third buoy. This time, they find it much more easily.
Are we men or mouse, hands? Where's the mice? That one there almost walked through on the shadow. Yeah, see? Look at this. Look at this. Photograph the check off, please. You have to put an iron.
The group discovers that the line securing the marker buoy to the tide gauge had frayed, rubbing against the shackle.
See?
This gives them a clue as to what might have happened to the second tide gauge.
So, Hans, do you agree that at the other side there'll be some lead weight on the floor, but nothing else?
Yeah.
The rest is gone.
Yeah, the rest is gone. I really do think so.
Yeah, but this is 2 weeks and more, and would be gone already. Yeah.
Graham is ready for Montgomery Reef and does some final tests.
Forward, thrust. Reverse.
Sitting in the middle of Camden Sound and about 300 square kilometres in size, scientists suspect that Montgomery Reef is the lifeblood for the surrounding ecosystem. Coral reefs and algal banks are the rainforests of the sea and support organisms from the bottom to the top of the food chain.
Montgomery Reef basically it's a very highly productive area with beautiful fringing corals around the edge of the reef crest, and tomorrow we're going to be going there and hopefully getting the first underwater transects using the remotely operated vehicle, the ROV, and we'll be able to see what's down there. Okay, she's in. So you have beautiful corals there, Graham. Yeah, beautiful.
For the first time ever, the team are seeing incredible pictures of the coral species and marine life of Montgomery Reef.
Nice fish.
The ROV is working beautifully, recording this amazing information without a hassle. Steve and the team are thrilled with the results and the sheer amount of stunning aquatic life.
See those big corals? Those big, yeah, go, yeah, it's beautiful. That coral's called Pectinia. Can I say, it's probably the first underwater video of Montgomery Reef. I stand corrected, but I think it's just brilliant. Beautiful corals, beautiful fish,
and that's just in a bit of a lagoon here. So the actual crest would be even more spectacular.
After a successful day, the researchers decide to take some time out to explore Sanson's Inlet.
Where we're going, there are crocodiles, so there's absolutely no swimming at all. Take care hopping in and out of the dinghies as well. We ask you to sort of walk down the steps and straight into the dinghies, and instead of hanging around down on that duckboard area. We have seen them jump out of the water and sit on the duckboard before.
The rugged beauty of this untouched Australian landscape is just breathtaking, even with the dangers lurking just below the surface. It's also a perfect spot for some fishing.
What you got, Hans? What you got, Hans? Get her in, mate. Right, get her in. Get her in, Hans. Well done, mate. That's dinner. Well done, well done.
What kind of fish is it? Queenie.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, a bit more, just a touch more.
As the team prepares to eat their catch, Steve takes the opportunity to have another look below.
Oh, a fish just went past. Have you seen this stuff? What? Tell us. This is all of the planktons, yeah, in the water?
It is the plankton.
Yeah.
I'd
there you go.
say that, even those ones might even be bigger than a millimetre.
So this is the area where these chlorophylls are getting up to 1 microgram per litre.
Yeah.
So this area here.
The fringing reefs here in the Kimberley have certainly proven to be amazing, bursting with life, unseen and flourishing. For now. For Steve and his team, this has been a brilliant first taste of the abundance here, but hopefully it's not their last.
So we hope to uncover within the Kimberley area some truly unique and remarkable endemic species. From what we've seen to date from the few underwater videos that we've taken, it's truly unique and spectacular, and the fantastic filter feeding communities, sponges, bryozoans, sea whips, all living down to up to 50 metres water depth in these incredibly harsh conditions. The fringing reefs and the corals seem to be quite incredibly adapted as well, and magnificent, and there's algae coexisting with the corals. We really truly are unearthing a coral reef province of global significance.
So now it's time for the team to return home and process their information. But this amazing area has one last surprise in store for them.
We were on the exit track leaving the field area, and suddenly we sighted about 3 spouts.
Okay, they're coming round from the boat, Here comes the other one. 2.
But then it was, well, is that 3 spouts or is that 6? And 6 became 9, and I think we ended up with roughly 12 whales. But where we saw the megapod of whales is in an area that might be termed a staging area for basically going down south later on. So I got the impression that they were sort of jockeying for position.
It is the end of the season, and a mother and calf are ready for a new adventure. They've met a male humpback who will accompany them on to the cooler feeding grounds of Antarctica. On their way, this calf will learn the distinctive whale songs that all male humpbacks sing. For the researchers, it is clear that local and indigenous knowledge can all help advance scientific understanding of this complex and mysterious region. They have only begun to uncover some of its secrets, but their experience is testimony to how incredibly important this fragile area is to all of us.
The Kimberley region, it's vast, it's wild, it's magnificent, and it's relatively untouched. And for a marine scientist, it's just a dream come true because of the opportunities and the range of habitats and unique environments that is the Kimberley coastline. So overall, it's a very, very challenging time. A lot of competing pressures on this place. I think it's the increase in visitor numbers as people get to understand how beautiful and magnificent this place is. There's the obvious issues around infrastructure development with the exploitation of the offshore gas reserves in the Browse Basin, and I guess we all hope that the various tiers of government and industry can work together, and with the local communities, and in particular with the indigenous communities up in the Kimberley region, to get the optimal outcomes.